welcome to another video. This time I'm going to do a quick history of prosthetics from ancient times to modern innovations. So, an introduction to prosthetics. They're artificial devices that replace missing body parts. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of the importance and the evolution of them, and how they have evolved to restore not just function, but also a sense of identity. So, yeah, a little bit of prosthetics through the ages. So, ancient prosthetics. So, the earliest known prosthetics, as shown in the picture before as well, and a little bit of a close-up here now, is a wooden toe found on an Egyptian mummy. It was pretty basic, just made of some simple wood and some leather. And it was actually found on an Egyptian noblewoman. The Roman general Marcus Sergius, who had an iron hand around 218 before Christ. Marcus Sergius was a Roman general during the Second Punic War. And he is most famed in prosthetic circles as the first documented user of using a prosthetic hand. The metal hand was constructed to allow him to hold a shield in battle, which is pretty fucking legendary. You know, dude's shield arm gets chopped off, just fuck it, continue with an iron one. So, prosthetics during the Middle Ages were kind of basic. They were mostly made of simple iron, wood, or leather, so kind of the same as before. Not really much development going on for almost 1,000 years until this guy came, Mr. Ambrose Paré, came up with the first wooden mechanical hand. So, prosthetic hand that you can kind of pre-lock into certain positions. So, even though you lost the functionality in your hand, you have at least somewhat of a hand that can replicate some of the functions that your hand can. Obviously, it needs a little bit of help, but it's still better than nothing. Or an iron hand that can only hold a shield, because it's not very practical for when you want to take a leak or, pick something up or hold something. So the Renaissance and the early modern period saw a little bit more development in terms of a little bit of an improvement over the stuff that had came before, where prosthetic legs, the peg legs, hands with not really movement, because you can't really get a wooden hand to move, I think. But, you were able to preset them in certain positions. So you again, have a little bit more functionality over your hand. And they became a little bit more widespread amongst the nobles. So during the 19th century, a lot of innovations were made. So think removable prosthetic legs, on which you can actually stand decently. And this is largely because of the American Civil War, because during the Civil War, health and health safety standards and all that wasn't a thing. So, like, you have cannonballs lobbing people's legs and arms off. You have musket bullets who are circular and quite large. Like, yes, a musket is inaccurate, but if you get hit by a musket ball, it blows off your arm, and then you don't have an arm. So this really caused the need for more prosthetics. And also another thing is a thing people don't think about often is things like gangrene would cause an infection. And often, in order for the infection to not spread, they would just amputate the limb that was affected by gangrene, because you would die from that. So then you get even more amputations, and even relatively minor surgeries were hampered by the fact that doctors in those days didn't wash their hands. So you'd have a doctor hold a knife in his mouth, and he's just been eating herpes hooker pussy. Like, I'm sorry, I can't say it any less brutal than that, but it's true. And then you're operating on a dude, and then you're spreading the germs everywhere, pretty much. Or like you just had a wank or something, and then like you use the cloth that you used to rub off your yogurt, and then you use that to fucking clean the wound or some shit. It's like ridiculous. So the need just became bigger and bigger during that time, but also because there was more need for prosthetics, they also really saw a lot of kind of decent improvements. Um, so the massive oh wait yeah the massive increase in demand for prosthetics due to the injuries of World War I and II. So here there are some examples of I think soldiers, with a prosthetic hand, doctor making them, some guys wearing them, probably. Um, so during these times, there were way more advances, and they were also necessary. Again, the sheer volume of people that needed them made sure that the advances that needed to be made actually got made. And I feel in the modern era, we could definitely be doing more to help these people because we have the tech. It's just not really being made widely available. That brings me to modern prosthetics. Development of more sophisticated material like carbon fiber and silicon, the introduction of electronic prosthetics like the Mayo electric arm, and obviously advances in cosmetic appearances. So this is actually quite important because let's say you lose your hand or you lose your leg and you get a fake one and you hate the way it looks, then you reject your new body part more, if you will. Whereas if you feel good about the way that it looks and the way that it feels, you're more inclined to use it and enjoy using it. And it's just a huge quality of life improvement. Also, obviously, it needs to fit. It's another thing. Bionics in the future, obviously, we're going to be seeing a lot more robot hands, robot legs. And I'm kind of interested in what the future will bring in this regard. In my opinion, though, I hope the future will actually make sure all these things become more widely available to the people that need them, so they can have the more top notch equipment pretty much. So, in conclusion, the future of prosthetics is advancing with lifelike, responsive designs through robotics and AI. While innovations are promising, there's a need for better access and quicker support to ensure that everyone who needs prosthetics can benefit from these achievements and lead more independent lives. All right, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.